naturally, we all get this question while practicing spiritual life. Why am I not advancing fast enough? It's very natural. And in that frustration, sometimes when we succumb to our desires and unable to control our mind and unable to keep up to the spiritual practice sincerely, we get frustrated and think, oh, maybe Krishna isn't responding to my devotion. He just does not care. He's not reciprocating. Or sometimes we think, oh, bhakti maybe isn't working fast enough in my case. I know bhakti is great, but maybe in my case, it's not just really working fast enough. And or we sometimes blame ourselves. Sometimes we blame Krishna, sometimes we blame the process, sometimes we blame ourselves also. Maybe I'm so fallen, I'm so unqualified. That's why bhakti is not working. It's like I see other bhakti is working on others, it's not working on me. So problem isn't within with me. So I'm not qualified, I'm too fallen. So in this way, our mind can actually make us very discouraged, doubtful, or skeptical. However, the truth is that none of these are actually true. Krishna is really eager to help. That's what again and again Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. And bhakti is supremely powerful. That also is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. And we see that in our own lives, where we were and where we have come, how far we have come, has happened in a very short time. Few years of this life is nothing compared to millions of lifetimes. And we also see when Srila Prabhupada was here, how much transformation he could bring about on the face of the whole planet, actually. And Krishna again mentioned in the ninth chapter that nobody is beyond redemption, that nobody is too fallen to actually receive mercy of Krishna. That's what Gaur Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya has actually made it very clear. We are going to celebrate Lord Nityananda Prabhu's appearance day in a few days. He literally personifies this principle that how nobody is too fallen to receive Krishna's mercy. By giving even mercy to Jagai and Madai, Nityananda Prabhu showed that to the whole world. So if we have doubts on Krishna or on Bhakti or on our own selves, it's very natural. In our state, we might get discouraged, but we don't need to actually be completely, we may feel like helpless, but we don't need to become hopeless. There is no place for hopelessness in bhakti. So we may be sometimes disappointed in the way we are advancing, but we don't need to get discouraged. So Srila Prabhupada himself said, when he did not have success in preaching for the first year and staying in New York City, he would get very disappointed that there is not much of a response. So he would go to the Brooklyn Steamship Company office, the Jaladuta office in Brooklyn, and he would inquire when is the next ship going back to India. And every now and then he would go all the way from Manhattan to Brooklyn and inquire the ticketing agent. And after a few times, the ticketing agent said, "You keep asking when is the ship going, but you never actually go. You just keep asking." So Srila Prabhupada said, "No, sometimes I get disappointed, but I know this is my spiritual master, service to my spiritual master. So it's okay. So he will come back." And he actually told in one kind of casual interaction with his disciples, he said, I used to get sometimes discouraged and disappointed that there is no result here and I'm alone. It's very hard. It's very cold and it's cold outside and I'm very old. So he said, but I would think, oh, whether I live or die, I'll actually try my best to serve my spiritual master. So I would go check because I would get disappointed. But after they say the dates, I would think, oh, maybe 2 more months. Let me try. Let me try for 2 more months. It's better to die in the mission of my spiritual master than just go back. So what's the point in going back after I've taken so much risk? So he would come back. So that's when Srila Prabhupada says, we may be disappointed in bhakti for various reasons, but there is no place for discouragement because there is no need to get discouraged, but because Krishna is always very merciful. Yes, Purva?
Prabhuji, I had a question because sometimes even I do think that bhakti is not working for me because probably it's just my mistake. I'm not putting all my heart and soul into it, or I'm just too fallen. And then when I read the story about Jagai Madhai, and they were sent to earth, but before they were Jaya and Vijaya, isn't it? They were the guards at the gate of Krishna's abode. So
Mm-hmm.
then I had
Yeah.
this question that even if Jagai and Madhai, they were so fallen, like they used to harass everyone who came their way, and they used to search people for harassing, and they committed all kinds of sins. Yet their original position was that they were guards at Krishna's abode. So
Mm-hmm.
isn't it because of that and Krishna had already promised them that he would save them. Like he himself would come and kill them, like when they were
You think
Hiranyaksha
this
and
sounds like
Hiranyakashipu.
more like a setup?
Sorry, but I'm just saying that we don't have that
I'm
present.
not
So
like
then
I
why would
understand where you're coming from. You're saying this seems
we?
like already set up. Okay, you guys go and we.
Yeah,
It's not to some extent. Yes, it's also the scriptures and Krishna brings their own associates to play such extreme roles, which even not possible for many conditioned souls. So
but
scriptures
then it.
actually show. Okay, means if you're, I will be coming to like I'll try my best to address your question. So like scriptures usually or Krishna brings his own associates sometimes to play roles which are like kind of very extreme, other it's otherwise not possible for the living entities, and still they are not actually acting on a sense. There are multiple details also, that sometimes there are multiple personalities in person and so many other things. But in the case of Jaga and Mada, even for if we just consider, okay, they were associates of the Lord and Krishna just gave mercy to them, so what's a big deal? There is no guarantee that he will give me because I am not like that. But we do see on a general level devotees around us, and there are many other personalities who are not associates. Krishna saved Gajendra, Krishna saved Jamila. It's not that they were associates of the Lord.
Yes, but sometimes I wonder whether I'm like more fallen than Jagai Madai. I don't know.
That's why
Probably.
a disciple of Srila Prabhupada went to Srila Prabhupada and said, I am the most fallen. Srila Prabhupada said, you are not the most anything, because that is also actually taken care by Jagai and Madai. So we have our struggles. Nothing is going to deny our struggles. Nobody is dismissing our struggles here. Krishna knows our struggles, and that is a and there are certain lessons that we also need to learn. So it gradually comes. It's a very less amount of time that we are actually started practicing. This lifetime is not a lot, and it's a matter of few years. We are like really going through a millions of lifetimes of back, and that is happening very quickly in a few years. Vishnu Chakra Thakur says in his commentary to Nectar of Devotion that bhakti works very fast but also very gradually. How he says that if you just take 1,000 lotus petals and press them in you will be able to hold 1,000 petals just within this kind of a space. That's how soft they are. And then you can take a needle and then press through, and it will press through very quickly. But if you just zoom in and see each one, how it is going through each layer, you'll think it's taking its time to pass through. But in the actual, it has just pushed through that whole bunch of thousands lifetimes very quickly. So similarly, our millions of lifetimes of our conditionings are being removed by few years of some inattentive chanting. Not even like fully attentive it, but still like with just a few years of practice with our ability to focus. Just already the holy name has done so much, has brought us much closer to Krishna. So if it has brought us this far, it has the potency to go further. So Rupa Goswami says, if anyone falls on a path, they will take support of the same earth and get up and walk again. Similarly, in the bhakti path, if we ever feel discouraged, again take shelter of the same bhakti path, continue to walk, and take association of devotees. I hope that kind
Okay,
of
thank you.
answers. Hare Krishna. Yes,
Yes,
Krishna
thank you
Prabhu.
very much.
Hare
So
Krishna.
it's a related question, but on this slide itself, in general, our patience has declined in
Hmm.
the when I send an email, I expect a response immediately, or when I send a WhatsApp message,
Text.
text or WhatsApp, and in general, or even if I eat a medication, I expect it to work immediately. Otherwise, I lose faith in that. Knowing that in the even in the last 30, 40 years, if our patience has declined, what is our hope for maintaining this patience for bhakti and that to awaken in our heart, Prabhuji?
Thank you, Prabhu. That is a very pertinent question. So if you know this 9 stages of bhakti that Rupa Goswami discusses, we might not have discussed it at the Bhagavad Gita class. However, like it is, he says Shraddha, Bhajana Kriya, Sadhu Sangha, and Anartha Nivritti. So initial stages, we have little faith, we do some kind of association of devotees, and then through that we start chanting, we start hearing Gita and all these things. So through that, the heart starts to get cleansed. And once the heart is good amount is cleansed, that there is strong faith that manifests, stable devotional service that manifests and leads to more taste, attachment to Krishna, then bhava and prema, like that. So this stage of Anartha Nivritti is a very long running stage. Now these stages are not subsequent, like what you call them, sequential. To the extent the heart is cleansed, to that extent Nishta manifests, taste manifests, like that. So that particular Anartha runs from the beginning till one achieves complete perfection. So Rupa Goswami says, then what is, as you are saying, how can a soul be patient? What is that thing that can actually help remain patient and hopeful? He says one needs to have a strong connection with one's spiritual master, a strong gratitude, experience, and surrender to spiritual teachers. So if we see, look, if we develop our connection and strengthen our connection with Srila Prabhupada, it can be very helpful. Because if when things like when we go through a dark night of the soul, when you don't see the end of the light in the end of the tunnel, it can be very hard because internally we're just alone to a large extent. And sometimes the external attractions or the distractions can be very powerful, and lifetimes of habits and conditionings can be very hard to break through. But it does not mean sometimes we have to go low to come up strong. I'm saying a very controversial thing. I don't think it's written in any book or anything. But most of the times, my personal experience and observing other devotees, usually sometimes people go down to come up, actually. Sometimes Krishna has to put us, it feels like he has left our hands to make us realize that he is actually holding our hands, but it's just that we need to become aware. Like sometimes we become too lazy and too casual in devotion service. If we are always alert, then we may not have to go through a low. But for most people, sometimes an apparent low is the way to actually bounce back. And it's, and that during that phase, what actually keeps us is we don't need to have just shame and guilt, which just takes us away further from Krishna. Rather, we need to actually have a strong faith in and connection with teachers like Srila Prabhupada. Then during those difficult phases, it can actually give us hope. Even if we think others might judge us, in our heart, we can always pray to Srila Prabhupada, we can pray to our spiritual teachers, and we can continue to pray to Krishna. But we think sometimes Krishna is too strict, so we don't want to go close to him, especially when we feel our consciousness is not in the right place. So guilt is a big real problem. Guilt and shame and fear, these things actually need not stop us from going close to Krishna. The right kind of guilt is to stop us from things that keep us away from Krishna. That should, the guilt should be standing between us and the problem, not between us and Krishna. But sometimes it's very natural. As a practitioner, I have experienced that so much. I continue to experience that. And what has helped me personally is my faith in Srila Prabhupada. That is what can actually help us go through that difficult phase of the slow phase of snail pace phase of spiritual advancement sometimes. And once you cross a certain like phase, you actually can look back and think, actually I was a rascal. Krishna had no other choice. He gave me so much chance, he gave me so much indication, but I'm just too egoistic, too proud, too illusion sometimes, and very entitled. So I feel like, yeah, I had to go through this now for me to actually develop some amount of gratitude and humility. So now looking back, I am grateful to Krishna, and I feel I deserved what I went through. But during that phase, it wasn't very fun. It wasn't like very easy. And having good friends and very merciful mentors, and also my faith in Srila Prabhupada. These are the things that continue to help me go through those difficult phases. Friends who really understand, who can, sometimes we may not speak, but they know and they hold space for me when required. And also devotees who, mentors who really understand the struggle and who are very empathetic and who encourage and hold my hand during that phase. So these are the three places, my faith in my own spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada, and continue to practice like a very strong philosophical Shraddha, Shastriya Shraddha, they call it. A kind of a faith that is not just sentimental, but faith based on philosophy. That also generally helps because I'm a slightly a bookish person. Like I have my inclination for philosophy and scriptures. So I feel in my case that has also helped me. But surely my own personal faith in scriptures would not have taken me much far. It is only by the mercy, like the help that was offered to me very graciously by my seniors and by my friends, with whom I could very honestly open, express, really not just whitewash my problems, but like really express my struggles. And also my own faith in my spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada. All the combination of these things actually continues to help me to push through the growing phase.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And actually, the going down that you mentioned, that's in MBA class, they call it a change curve. And in that change curve, they say that sometimes when organizations change, it brings you below their performance, and then only after that starts going up. So I think that I can relate to that.
Yeah,
But thank
it's
you.
more like
Thank you for
it's more
sharing
like
your personal journey too.
Krishna dunks us inside the water and then we come up. For us to wake up, actually, because we are, the illusion is very strong. It's been for so many lifetimes. However, like externally, we are like nice devotees, very very generally we could be nice people, but still we hold a lot of ego and spiritual ignorance. So Krishna gradually operates it, and no operation is very pleasant. It's a little messy. Thank you, Hare Krishna. So sometimes we may think, oh, why it should be like I should beg for spiritual advancement, like Arjuna. It's my birthright, right? It's the nature of the soul to be Sachidananda. And I'm just wanting to realize my original nature. I have an eternal relationship with Krishna. So what's a big deal in just realizing it? The spiritual advancement is my right. From that perspective, from the perspective of the nature of the soul, it may look like it's our birthright. However, spiritual advancement is not like a very impersonal thing. Bhakti is a relationship. So you can just demand love. You can just tell a person, okay, you just have to love me. We cannot demand. It's a thing. It's a relationship. It has to come from the other side very naturally. We have to wait. Even in this world, if you ever had an experience of falling into in love, so then you can just demand it. You have to wait and pray that hopefully the other person reciprocates it. So the same way here, Arjuna is requesting, cannot be demanded. Bhakti is a relationship with Krishna. It's like falling in love with Krishna. So we have taken our time. Krishna has always been loving and he was waiting. And we have taken our time. So we also need to give Krishna his time. And that's why Arjuna is saying, if you feel I'm qualified, kindly bestow your grace on me. So that is the right attitude, because gratitude and humility opens our heart. So they say gratitude opens the heart and humility gets the heart ready. It's like a field for agriculture. So it is the humility that actually tills the heart, that can actually, when the seed is given, and then it can be a fertile ground for it to actually grow. So gratitude and humility opens our heart to receive divine blessings and grace and knowledge. So it has to be a practice. It's very easy to say, I'm just telling as if I do it, but it's my kind of, it is dawning upon me that how sometimes we won't be humble and we cannot wait for us to become naturally humble. So there was this devotee who entered Srila Prabhupada's room and he did not offer obeisances. Srila Prabhupada said, offer obeisances. So he had something in his hand and he just was walking towards Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, offer obeisances. He said, Prabhupada, I don't feel like doing. He said, if you offer, you will start feeling. So sometimes we may not actually feel like doing, but doing also can give us that feeling. So as a sadhana, we need to remind ourselves that I need to be grateful and humble. And we can go before the deities when you come to the temple, when in your own altar at home. It can be a practice that we go before, fold our hands, express our gratitude. Thank you, Krishna, for tolerating me, for continuing me to show your mercy. I'm fallen, please help me. So by actually making it a heartfelt practice, by showing gratitude and humility, making it a sadhana, it can actually make a heart actually happy also. It will ground us very well. And in that way, we'll be able to receive divine grace and knowledge. We'll be able to digest the knowledge that we learn, because there can be so much indigestion with a lot of information, a lot of knowledge that we all gain in bhakti in a very short time. We gain the essence of all the Vedic view. We gain an essence by coming to Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. So it can actually make us very proud also. I know everything. But the knowledge to digest it,